Fresh in the morning, welcome to my canny.
Robert Tables, my dude. Okay, mic should be better now. Good old voice meter problems. It's one of those days, chat. Let's turn it around. Let's turn it around, though. Breathe in and breathe out.
Shining through. They say you're beautiful and damn it's true. You know I wouldn't wanna lie to you, so trust me when I say, yeah, 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 yeah. I found love and I live for you. Yeah, 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 yeah. I found love and it's all for you.
All right, chat, we ready? Is it wrong to fire up the oven to bake a single cookie for breakfast, says Frackberg? No. No. No, my man. Not at all. I could use a cookie right now. I could definitely use a cookie right now. All right. Shall we get started, chat? I want to run into the dark with you, apparently. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. It was just the lyrics to the song, Michael. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hi, there are. Yeah, apparently that is a translation. Look at that, Michael. All right. I fell in love, and it's all for you. Yeah, yeah. Such a nice song. All right, here we go. Fade. Hello. Happy Thursday, everybody. Beautiful singing. Thanks. I'm great. Tone deaf. Big time. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you're having a good start to your Thursday. I have not been, but I'm looking to turn it around. I'm a lot of sorts right now. Just frantically trying to get things in order today and just feeling a little stressed. But we're streaming. We're live. We're here. Happy Thursday. How are you all? Talk to me. Let's turn this day on its head so far. Huh? How about that, chat? How about that? We do have featured chat still running for today's session, so let's go with Frackberg's message so far, and we're gonna put that up there on the screen. And then the question is a first question of the stream today, because today is a community Q&A again. We don't have a specific topic to focus on, although there are topics building up. Guess see what I did there? Building up in the Bud Discord. If you want to join up there, the link to that is in the chat from Stream Elements right there. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. And Rad Cullen, good to see you. Says, you get that first Fall Guys crown yet? I have not. Oh my gosh. We have to talk about that though, for sure. Frackberg says, I've not had a great Thursday either, especially since I didn't get to sleep until nearly 3 a.m. this morning. Still up it. Wow. Frackberg, you're gonna be due for a nap in about an hour. But yeah. All right, so let's catch up on chat. Robert Tables, my dude. 25 months. Thank you so much for that continued support, man. We're getting up there, folks. A lot of people in like over the 2-year mark. That's insane. That's insane. I can't believe that. 25 amazing months is Robert Tables. Thank you, Robert Tables. And Musical Bookworm dropping in the 12 months. That's a long time too. A whole year. My dude, Music Bookworm, thank you so much for that continued support as well. I appreciate you. It means a lot. Frackberg, I read that. I had robot voice. Oh, the alerts. What are the alerts doing there? Hide those alerts. What was that? Rad Cullen just subscribed. My dude, Rad Cullen. You didn't have to do that. Thank you, Rad Cullen. Appreciate you, bud. Always good to see you. Appreciate you being in the chat. I mean, seriously, folks, I want to remind people, I don't stream, not to take anything away from the people that are supporting by giving, by subscribing, gifting subs, cheering, all that kind of stuff. That is very nice of you. And I appreciate that. And what I do with that is I just funnel it back into the community by cheering other developers and gifting subscriptions to other developer streamers and things like that. So that's kind of like been the whole flow of things when it comes to that. But the other side of that, the other thing I want to mention at least is like kind of what Rad Cullen, just to use you as an example. I mean, just being here, lurking at first maybe, and then starting to chat and being part of the conversation, that means a whole lot in itself on its own like that. So thank you for doing that, and I appreciate you starting to subscribe there too. So Thank you. Michael Frustrated Dev says, I'm sorry, man. I feel you. Work the past 2 weeks have been very stressful. The usual tight deadlines and vague requirements. I'm sorry to hear that for you, Michael Frustrated Dev. I've been there before, and I don't envy your position right now. But you'll get through it. That's the key, right? You'll at least get through it and hopefully avoid getting into that again in the future in terms of like your work putting that pressure on you like that. Did I miss anything else in there? Frackberg says it's not the most energy efficient way to cook. By baking one cookie, yeah. You might as well bake like a whole batch, right? Like a dozen. Robert Taylor says, Frackberg wrong? ? I'm sorry. I thought this was America. Yeah. What else we got here? Oh, so let's talk Fall Guys. And while I'm here, right? How do we always start a Build Up Devs chat? Who knows? How do we start up Build Up Devs? Especially a community Q&A. It's something we do every week. Hint, hint. I said week. Drop it in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. I'll wait. I'm going to wait. Awkward pause. Shall I stare into the screen like I normally do? Like this? What do we normally do, chat? Frackberg says, I bought Fall Guys. We definitely need to be bad at this game together. I'm down. Yes, WOTW. Rad Cullen dropping it in the chat. Appreciate you. WOTW. What's your win of the... Wow, that's not the right one. This is the right one. Whoops, rebrand. WOTW. That's Rad Cullen. Win of the week. What's your win of the week, chat? I'm trying to think. My win of the week. I am still... I know last week it was like I mentioned that I was on a good sleeping schedule to get into bed early. That is continuing. I had one little slip up on Saturday evening where I did try to go to bed at a normal time, but then I just could not get my mind to, like just relax and go to sleep. And so my mind was racing. I started getting tingling in the back of my spine. And I was like pacing around my house, just trying to like burn some energy and clear my head and then go back to bed. End up falling asleep on the couch. Robert Till says, I think my win happened yesterday when I delivered Corey CLW a heckin' case of the giggles on stream. That is a fantastic clip. Please don't forget to submit that to the Notable Clips repo, my friend. GitHub.com/live-coders notable clips. Here's the link for you. Bam, bam. But that is fantastic. Seeing Corey laugh like that, that's great. Frackbrick says, I know it's not Python day, but my week isn't quite right without hearing links of the day. I can play it for you. Where did I put that, actually? Oh, I know. Links of the day. There you go. Does that make it better, Frackberg? DJ Discourse says, not this week, but officially graduated with my master's last week. The joy of being done has carried over into this week. That's awesome. Let's get a round of applause. I need my bot to be running. I swear, chat, I'm so sorry from the bottom of my heart. I'm just all out of sorts today, and I'm not on top of my game. These things happen, though. Starting the bot so we can play the sound effects at least. But congrats on that. That's really awesome, DJ Discourse. Robert Tables, congrats on getting Corey a case of the giggles. Giving Corey a case of the giggles. Sahil, good to see you, buddy. Says, hey, Clarkio. Hey, Sahil. How are you? What's your win of the week? Drop it in the chat. Let us know. The bot crashed. Wow. Okay. Address in use. Excuse me? Wait. Excuse me? What's using that address? Okay. We're going to have to look for a node process running on that same port. Let's end that task. Yep. I don't know what that is. Let's try this again. Such a great start to this Thursday. All right, it is running now, so we should be able to do applause. Nope. Nope, we can't, apparently. Let's try this again. Oh. Gotta have a browser open with your applause right now, don't you? That was a little loud. I turned it down. Don't worry. Your ears will be safe moving forward. Chat, what do you do when you're just so rattled and you need to get back on track? Huh? What do you do? Anyway, Ancient Coder afternoon. Welcome, Ancient Coder. Happy to have you here. Heck is right. How are things by you, Ancient Coder? What's your win of the week? Let's get the applause for Robert Tables, DJ Discourse. Robert Tables with the getting Corey a case of the giggles. DJ Discourse with officially graduating with their masters. That's a huge accomplishment. Congrats on that. What else do we have? Frackberg bought Fall Guys. That's a win. That's good. Michael the Frustrated, I read that. What other wins we got? So I was going on about not going on, but I was kind of trying to think through what's my win. So I've been still good on the sleeping schedule with the one exception of that Saturday evening, this last Saturday. I've been getting quite a bit of work done. I did a lot of video, like editing and description writing and cleanup for all the Python streams. Not all of them, but majority of them. So those are the Python streams I do with Cecil on Wednesdays normally, although Cecil's been out. I made a mistake. I'm off this week completely, I think, because yesterday I thought Cecil was back, and he was not actually back. He's still on vacation. So I was all, ready to start streaming yesterday, and then today, then you're noticing, those of you that are just tuning in, maybe you didn't get the message in Discord, but Danish is not here. Danish is not feeling well, so please send him your well wishes for him to get better soon. He's just not feeling so well today. And then I was like, oh shoot, I need to update the graphics quickly prior to the stream so that I can do one camera. And Rad Cullen, we have a question in chat from Rad Cullen. Let's get it highlighted through the featured chat. What do you use? Rad Cullen asks, what do you use for video editing software? I have dabbled with a bunch of them. And the one I don't know that I like it the best. I just know that I feel the most efficient with it at this point because I've learned the most about how to use it, and that is Camtasia. I'm using an older version of Camtasia. I think they're up to Camtasia 10. I'm on Camtasia 9. And that one I'm pretty quick with, and so that's why that's my go-to. I don't necessarily think it is the best option, but I also don't want to take the time to learn like Adobe Premiere or I've tried ScreenFlow. I don't really like that one that much. There are some pros and cons to that one too, but I just never really got a knack for it, and I found I was just like kind of fumbling a lot more. And then Adobe Premiere Pro is just so overwhelming, the amount of controls and options and buttons and not knowing where things are for just like simple editing stuff and just knowing the keyboard shortcuts. Whereas like I know a basic amount of keyboard shortcuts with Camtasia that lets me move pretty quickly with my editing. So that's why I tend to stick with that still, even though I don't think it is the best editor out there. I believe things like Adobe Premiere I suspect that is better in terms of its use, but there's a huge learning curve with that, and I just have not. Every time I start to try and learn it, I quit. Like I just need to go to something to edit this thing more quickly. Ancient Coder says Camtasia is so easy to use. It is pretty easy to use. I like that. I like that about it. Robert Taylor says I haven't used Camtasia since Lyndon Johnson was in office. Is that supposed to be like a reference that I'm missing here? Brad Collins says, I've been eyeing the Adobe suite, but yikes, at that price for all their apps, like $55 a month. Yeah, it's steep. It's a steep price. Yeah, and I think since they've gone to like the Creative Cloud subscription based kind of thing instead of like a flat rate, I have not tried. Although work. Get good, Brian. Thanks. Thanks, Kuya Brian. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for being here. Happy Thursday to you. TBD Gamer, good day to you as well. Thank you for being here. The question was from Rad Cullen about what editing software do I use. I'm talking about Camtasia a little bit, and then the Adobe products. And the only time I've ever really accessed it is when my work has kind of covered the cost of the subscription or whatever it is. So that's why I've never personally bought the Adobe stuff. That's the other barrier to entry for me that limits me from learning more about it too, you know? So that's what I was doing yesterday. Was doing a little bit of editing, not really editing, but like just going through and reviewing the captured streams and that kind of stuff. Sorry, I was just checking something. Squirrel moment. Going through the captured streams, making sure that the descriptions for them are accurate on YouTube, and then getting them ready. Because I know a lot of people with the Python streams, they want to go back and reference the past ones. Maybe they missed them live, and they want to, review them again, maybe skim through them. And so I'm trying to clean all that up and get it squared away so that it's ready to be shared. So there you go. What else, though? What's everybody... So, again... Win of the week, drop your win of the week in the chat, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. It doesn't have to be something big. It could be something small, like you had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich today. That's a win in my book. Just saying. TBD Games says, I use Adobe Premiere for editing. They actually just offer the full suite for $30 a month, so I upgraded that. Oh, hopefully I can learn how to use the tools while it's not costing too much per month. Interesting. I didn't realize that. $30? That's a bit better than $55 a month. Still pretty, can be pretty expensive. Quee Brian says, I got a crown in Fall Guys. And TBD Gamer says, for 1 full year. Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so yeah, let's talk about Fall Guys. Somebody asked me, Frackberg says, is it running in 2 places? How did I miss that message? I'm sorry. Frackberg says, win of the week. I got Brian to play Links of the Day. I did play Links of the Day. There you go. That's a good win. I like that one. Somebody had mentioned Fall Guys, though. Was it Frackberg? Frackberg was saying that I bought... Frackberg says, I bought Fall Guys. We definitely need to be bad at this game together. I'm down. I'm down to do that. I have yet to lock in a win on Fall Guys. It's been pretty fun to follow the journey of Tim the Tatman and watching him struggle to get that win as well. And yeah. So I was actually, all right, so I was kind of teasing yesterday, since we weren't going to have the typical Python stream on the Microsoft Developer Channel. I was trying to get approval to play Fall Guys on stream on the Microsoft Developer account. It didn't quite happen. I probably could have done it, but I wanted some other things to be put in place before I went ahead with that. And then I decided it's not a good idea. So yeah. Anyway, Fall Guys is a fun game. If you haven't checked it out, it's like these little bean-looking characters that run through obstacle courses and play mini games. Basically, it's kind of like, it is like a battle royale kind of style, like last person to make it to the end wins kind of thing. In combination with, like, if you think about Mario Party, like the mini games in Mario Party, it's kind of like a mashup of that a little bit. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but that's how I think of it as. It's a really fun game. It's frustrating as heck too, to try and lock in a win. And let me tell you this: I've come I've played there's 2 final levels to get the final crown and the win. Okay, in Fall Guys, for those of you that don't know. One it's called Hexagon. It's basically these little hexagon tiles that you stand on, and you have about like half a second to a second before it disappears. And if you're still in that space, you drop through to the next layer, right? And there's a bunch of these layers of those hexagon tiles until you reach the bottom where you fall into the slime and you get eliminated. So the idea is you want to stay on as high of a layer on as many tiles as you possibly can and use up those tiles slowly. That's one strategy. Another strategy is people drop quickly and just start ripping through the bottom layer tiles so that there's little that people can land on. I don't know that I agree with that strategy or if it's the best, but it happens. So that's hexagon. That's one way. I've come close to that, winning with that one, but I'm not like, I still need some more practice in that. Now, the other one is it's this mad dash to this crown at the end. Okay. And that one, I have made it to the end as the first person to make it to that end point. But the crown is this object that like bounces up and down. So the very first time I ever made it, I jumped and dove thinking that all I had to do was just kind of like hit into it, but I didn't know it went up and down. So as soon as I dove, it went up and I completely missed it. So that was my first experience of failure with being that close to victory and losing. And then another time I made it that far and I waited this time and I jumped at it and I just smacked my face into it and then fell down. Because I didn't realize you have to press the button to grab the thing and hold on. And that's how you win. And so that was very frustrating as well. And then there's a couple other times where I jumped, tried to grab, and somebody else apparently like grabbed the crown right before me, like half a second before me kind of thing. It's been an adventure and a journey, but I will get that crown at some point. So that's been my experience with Fall Guys. Frackberg says I made it to round 2 once. Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm sorry, Frackberg. We're going to have to work on that. Kuya Bryan says most extreme elimination challenge. Yes. Most extreme elimination challenge. Rad Cullen says Tim's stuff was hilarious. 350,000 people watching yesterday. Super impressive from a content perspective and a nice break from the persistent negativity that 2020 has brought. I agree, Rad Cullen. I'm a big fan of Tim, even though sometimes he can be a little too like bro kind of thing. But I don't think that's really him. That's what kind of gets me a little bit with him. But anyway, that aside, I think he really is. Knowledge is here. Good to see you, Knowledge. Fragberg says, I've only played 3 games. I didn't have a lot of time the day I bought it. Oh, I got you, yeah. Yeah, so if you don't know about Fall Guys, you can get it on PC on Steam, via Steam. Or you can get it on PlayStation 4, I think, like for free, or like it's much cheaper on PlayStation for some reason. So if you have PlayStation 4, you can get Fall Guys. It's a fun game. It's a nice little... So those of you that know me probably have heard me mention this before, but if you are new to the stream and new to me, I tend to play video games as my escape, like mental relaxation, I guess, to some degree. And yeah. So the Fall Guys is a great game for that. Although you can get frustrated with that, but at least takes your mind off of whatever else is going on, right? Knowledge says, I am not here. You're obviously lying, Kappa. Yeah, Fragberg says, I may potentially need to buy a controller because my keyboard isn't great for gaming. For that game, yeah, I do. I've played with the keyboard. I've played with the controller for Fall Guys. I think I prefer playing on controller, but it's not like impossible to use a keyboard and mouse for Fall Guys. Knowledge says, do you actually know Tim? No, I don't know Tim. I don't like know him. I've just been following along with his stream for quite some time. And yeah. I think some of the other streamers around him and that like their personalities might just be influencing him a little bit at times. I don't like that's what I'm just saying, like I believe he's a really good dude, and he is, and I think he has a good I don't know, head on his shoulders. He means well. He likes helping people out. He's a nice guy. I just think sometimes you all know I have a strong, not all of you, but most of you that have been here know I have a pretty strong aversion towards like alpha mentality, alpha male mentality, bro kind of mentality. And so sometimes I see that come out a little bit. That's all I'm getting at. Fractures probably, but my keyboard is a split board, and spacebar jump is not easily reachable while using WSD. Also, you missed my real win of the week. Did I miss it? Where is it? I love, but like, so just to close out the Tim thing, I absolutely love Tim and his stream and like what he does. It's really funny. I laugh a lot, and don't get it. I guess I'm sharing that so you all don't get it twisted. Like I don't like him. I really do like Tim. Real win of the week, says Frackberg. I made it Twitch. Frackberg, that's awesome, dude. Oh wait, wrong button. Applause in chat for Frackberg. Let me get it up here on. Yep. Bam. Look at that. That's Frackberg's real win of the week. WOTW. Frackberg made a Twitch affiliate. That's so amazing to hear. I think I knew that kind of because I tuned in and I saw that there was a like a way you could cheer, right? I think. Yeah. Thank you, Michael, for doing the applause. Robert Tills always had faith in you, Frackberg. Me too. I did too. Knowledge says he's not a bro, in quotes, said the programmer. Yeah, I'm a real programmer, let me tell you. Ancient Coder, thank you for saying congrats to Frackberg. Frackberg says, Robert Tails, I'm glad one of us did. Oh, come on, Frackberg. Come on, my man. Any other wins of the week? Any questions? It's an AMA, basically. Ask me anything. AMA, ask me anything. Michael Frustrated Dev says, I've been so busy the past 2 weeks, I feel like I haven't really been able to be on Twitch much. That happens, Michael. Don't feel bad about it, man. It's good to be busy. You got to have priorities. I mean, that's why I say all the time, like, use your time wisely. If you're not getting any value out of watching the stream here, go watch another stream or go do whatever it is you need to do. For real. Knowledge says, I'm trying hard to leave my office before 5:50. Ooh. And you have to go into an office right now still, Knowledge? Are things better by you? In terms of the, coronavirus and all that? Home office. Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I try to leave my home office by 5:15, 5:30. Michael, the Frustrated Dev says, one win is that I've been finally able to record music again. Let's get this highlighted. This is awesome. Another great win. Love it. Love it. Love it. Michael, the Frustrated Dev says, one win is that I've finally been able to record music again. I bought a MIDI, MIDI keyboard, MIDI keyboard recently, and it has been a good break from programming on the side. That's nice. That's a good little, thing to be doing. Little thing. I mean, not little, but, instead of maybe playing video games, making some music. That reminds me, have you all heard of Sonic Pi? Some of you might have seen, if you've been around long enough, Sonic Pi. Sonic Pi, I've been meaning, it's been in the back of my mind, I want to get back into doing this. But basically you write loops in code to create music. So there's a link in chat. You can check it out. Frackberg says, I've heard of it. I've never looked into it. It's a lot of fun. It's really interesting. In fact, maybe we'll do a little bit of that on today's stream. Brad Collins says, have you thought about a Bud Twitch channel? I have. I don't know. Yeah, I've thought about it. What are your thoughts about it, Rad Cullen? Because we already have the BuildUpDevs name on Twitch. We have that locked in. So it's not a matter of worrying about getting that, but it's a matter of, do we start streaming on that channel or not? I'm okay with doing that. It doesn't have to be on my Clarkio channel, but I think there's some, for instance, Cecil and I used to do the Python stream on my channel here, and then we were like, hey, let's go put that on the Microsoft Developer channel, right? And there's some good to that, and there's potential, I don't know, disadvantages to that maybe. I don't know. So I'm trying to balance. I'm still trying to feel that out, and that will help maybe make a determination on what we do with the BuildUpDev stuff in terms of streaming it. Because then I would need to create probably a separate YouTube. Actually, I think we do have YouTube already too. And export the videos to YouTube there. I don't know. It's a lot to think about. Peak says, have you played Flight Simulator? I have not. What are your thoughts on it? I feel like that's another one that's been getting a lot of traction lately too. Pop that up there. Thank you for your question, Pete. Good to see you, buddy. And thank you, Rad Colin, for your question too. What are your thoughts on that? That game, Flight Simulator. Seems pretty cool. Is it like pretty realistic? Huh? I need to update my stream deck so that I can do the phase zoom stuff especially when it's just me. Michael, the Frustrated Dev says, gotta go back to work. Appreciate you, Clarkio, in chat. You all have a good day. You too, Michael. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Have a good rest of your day. Hope it gets better than mine. Folks, if you want to join up on the BuildUpDevs Discord, here's the link there.
God, who the
There he
hell
is.
cares?
I'm already having an off day, and now I'm going to get trolled super hard. I thought about not streaming today. Double sound effects? Is that? Oh, I know why that's double sound effects. You're just hearing it through the microphone. It should stop now. Peak says, yeah, it looks pretty realistic. Even the air traffic control will start yelling at you when you start going off the flight plan. Really? Oh. Wow. Oh, wow. Owen Wilson, wow. Owen Wilson, wow.
Wow.
Bold Bearded Bill says, I thought about not streaming today. Sometimes you gotta trust your gut, Kappa. Yeah. Michael Jolly, I gotta go check out my P.O. box. I believe something has arrived. So maybe by tomorrow I'll have it for tomorrow's stream. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm excited. I just haven't had a chance to go out to the P.O. box. It's a little bit of ways. Knowledge says, I'm going to make your day worse. I'm joining that Discord. Oh no. Then Knowledge is going to critique the setup of the Discord and start asking very important questions. No, it's all good. All right. Rad Cullen says, I personally think streaming on Bud Twitch could be good. BuildUpDevs is almost like a call to action. And I think a lot of people are looking for a community like this. They just don't know where to find it. Yeah. Yeah. And they see Clarkio and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to find a BuildUpDevs kind of community thing. I'm not going to find a community there. I'm going to find cringy dad jokes. But Mr. Smoofy, what a name. I like that. Thank you so much for the follow. Knowledge says, judges that there's a bot entry DM. Yeah. Well, so keep in mind with that, Knowledge is like quite a lot of folks that are joining that. We can talk offline about it. I was just going to say, I think a lot of people aren't familiar with Discord. And so that's why I have the bot entry DM. Bold Bearded Bill says, I'm just glad I get to drop by. Normally BuildUpDevs runs during my weekly team call. So with that, I'm here. Who needs to be built up? I'm bald, I'm bearded, and I'm ready to build. Thank you for that, Michael Jolly. We're happy to have you here at Triple B. Rad Collins says, discoverability just isn't the greatest on Twitch. I know. Well, it's getting better, though. It has gotten quite better in the sense of I see a lot of recommended channels now, and then it kind of leads me to checking them out. I'm like, oh, okay, this person's doing science and technology. They're programming on X, Y, and Z in their title, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. Let me go check it out. And I tune in. I listen in for a little bit, and it helps me discover, or at least get visibility to people that I normally may not have found. So I am liking that they have the recommended channel show up now, but there's definitely still more work that can be done to improve that kind of discoverability. Yeah, I'm with you, Red Cullen. Bald Bearded Biller says it's totally getting better, but I found you 100% have to be sure to add tags to your stream. Speaking of, why do I not have tags on my stream? Listen, Mr. Jolly, you missed it. Today has not been off to a great start. Not really feeling it. Let's do a little AMA. Let's do a little educational. But thank you for the reminder. Okay. Mr. Smoofy says, I find the best channels via other streams who raid. Did you find this channel from a raid, Mr. Smoofy? And hey, Knowledge in Discord. Good to see you. Bold Bearded Builder says, I didn't realize you didn't until I started typing that, but it's true. I've seen the big difference if you do / don't have tags. Okay, yeah. Mr. Smoothie says Microsoft Devs hosted you. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Microsoft Devs. One thing the one thing we do, I'll keep that going for those of you that are just kind of tuning in right now. We do this thing called Win of the Week. So if you had something positive that happened to you this week and you feel comfortable sharing it with us, drop it in the chat. I'll read it out loud. We'll post it up on featured chat, which is this thing. I'll show you right meow, like that. And we'll celebrate with you with a little bit of a round of applause. Right? Excellent. And we like to do that here on BuildUpDevs. Part of the reason I do that is because for me personally, my personality is I'm pretty self-deprecating, and I focus and dwell on negative things quite a bit, which is kind of why I'm a little bit in a funk right now, to be honest with you all. And so like the idea is let's find something positive to be happy about that we're grateful for, big or small, and not, you know, it's not about like, I really want to make sure I'm emphasizing this. Okay. I'm not saying we just think everything's all positive and happy and rainbows and butterflies all the time. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is instead of dwelling on the negative things, we like recognize whatever it is that was negative that happened or whatever. Right. But don't dwell on it. And then let's try and just flip it and be like, you know what, let's move on. And what's something positive? What's something happy to kind of get me back in a good mindset here? And sometimes it's a struggle, but it is what it is. So that's why I kind of try to do that for myself, like force myself to think about what's my win of the week at least, or the day. We just go with the week for now, since the streams we usually just see each other. Some people tune in to BuildUpDevs stream. Some people maybe tune into my Friday stream. So since it's like once a week kind of thing for some people, let's do a win of the week. So that's it. Michael, what's your win of the week, man? Michael Jolly. Bold Bitter Bill says, great. Now I'm singing We Want the Funk in my head. We want the funk, and we want the funk. We want the funk. Yep. Thank you for that, too. Now it's stuck in my head. My head. So if you have a win of the week, let us know. Drop it in the chat, and we'll be happy to highlight it for you. TBD Gamer, speaking of, says, my wife is a teacher, and she's struggling with the whole going back to school thing. Yeah, it's definitely tough. I'm trying to help her focus in the same way you just said, not focusing on the negatives and keep moving forward. Yeah. I with that situation, I just feel so bad. Fortunately, I just try, thinking how to relate. I can't really relate, right? Because my daughter is not in school age yet. We've had her in daycare, but we've since taken her out of daycare. But I mean, I feel for even in daycares too. Like I feel for the people that are the teachers in these classes. I feel for the people working in the administrative part of things at these schools. And I think the key, I mean, I don't know that there's a right answer to all that stuff, And unfortunately, so let's put it this way. I like that there's options in some places where you can be like, hey, we're going to send, we can send the kids in school, but here's how it's going to work. We're going to have half the kids come these days of the week and then the other half come. So this way we keep the total number of human beings in an area limited to a certain percentage. So I think that's at least a step in the right direction to try and balance things out. With that, then there's other, so you have the option to do that. Yeah, some places you have the option to just go straight virtual, right? And you do self-learning, almost like homeschooling, really, which is in itself a hard thing, right, for the parents, because maybe the parents are trying to work and homeschool, right? Like, how do you balance all that? That's super tough. And then I think there's one where it's like digital teaching with it's instructor led. And in any case, I don't know, I don't feel like there's a right answer. It's like you pick what you feel comfortable with, at least if you have those kinds of options in your area, and run with it and see how it goes. And then I think there needs to be flexibility. If those options are presented in your district, in your area, I think there needs to be flexibility, like after the semester, right? The fall semester, so to speak, before, after winter break, right? The holiday break, when you go back to the like latter half of the school year, maybe you have an option to switch it up to something else, right? And maybe by then things will be a little bit better in terms of like the number of cases and how much it's still spreading, right? But yeah, I mean, that's awesome of you, TBD Gamer, to try and help focus on the positives, not ignoring the negatives, but just focus on the positives and like what you can control and what you can't control, and not ignoring what you can't control, but like it is what it is, right? Bold Bearded Builder says, win of the week, that rash seems to be going down. That will teach me to use leaves when toilet paper isn't available during a hike. Okay. I'm happy for you that the rash is going down. Probably not true. Probably a made up story, but we'll accept it. Thank you, Michael Jolly, for your win of the week, for sharing that with us. Always can count on you, buddy. Robert Table says, does a bald bearded builder poop in the woods? Question mark, Kappa. I don't know. Triple B says, you don't know. You haven't seen my butt rash. Nope. Don't plan on it either. Peak says, he said it's not true. He's seen the rash himself. Kappa. Okay. TBD Gamer says, when I grew up in the UK, my primary school used basically wax paper for toilet paper leaves. They're nothing. Okay, so this is where we're going with today's conversation. Toilet paper. Shall we open up the conversation about which way to place the toilet paper roll? If anybody thinks you should have it to where it dispenses from underneath, you're in the wrong place. Even the patent for the toilet paper roll says it must be over. Robert Tables, I'm with you. It has to be over. All caps over. Robert Tables will fight you, apparently. Peak says over. TBD Gamer says, that the way that frustrates you, your other half the most. Oh, that's the way you should put the toilet paper roll? Wow. This is so weird. Like, why? That is like, you totally, TBD Gamer. You went from I'm trying to help my wife not dwell on the negative and focus on the positive, to I put the toilet paper roll in a position that frustrates my wife the most. Well, I guess you got to balance these things out, huh? Is that what you're saying? Wow. I'm gonna turn the fan on. Wow. Okay. Mr. Smoofy says, over, always over, unless you have cats. Oh, because cats will just go nuts? Really? So if it goes under, then cats have a more difficult time? That's all right. Okay. I've never experienced that. One, I don't have cats. When I was younger, actually, the cat is still alive. The cat is like 20 years old. It's at my parents' house. It was like my sister and mom's cat. That cat never really got into anything. That cat barely like existed because it was just always hiding. And I guess that's what helped it live. I don't know, for so long. Robert Till says, there's your solution. The cat has to leave. Mr. Smoofy says, just place it on its side on the counter. I mean, that's sure, you could do that. TBD Gamer says, I'm supportive. It's a test. Oh, okay. Triple B says, I put the paper toilet roll on the shelf next to the toilet because I'm too lazy to replace the roll on the wall. You know, I feel you. And it looks like Peak and Kuya Brian are with you as well. I've definitely been there. I've definitely gotten in trouble for doing such a thing too. Knowledge says, I do not use rolls. Kappa. Okay, Knowledge. Good for you. Frackberg says, TBD Gamer, some subscribe to Happy Wife, Happy Life. I prefer slightly irritated wife, amusing life. Oh my gosh, Frackberg. That one's got to get highlighted. Kuya Brian says, you sure they didn't swap out the 20-year-old cat with another cat to save your heartbreak? No. It's definitely the like, I think it's not quite 20 years old, but it's close to 20 years old. I'm trying to think. Basically, the cat has been alive longer than my wife and I have been dating. And my wife and I are high school sweethearts. So, yeah. It's at least over a decade, almost 2 decades, that the cat has been alive. Laughing out loud. Thank you, chat translator. Knowledge says, Peak, how did you know how I clean? Wait, what? Peak says, Knowledge, just let the neighbor spray you down for some good social bonding. Oh, goodness. I'm so glad the conversation has gone in this direction. Michael Jolly says, the cat is dead. They just had it stuffed. No, the cat is not in that state. The cat is alive and well. Robert Taylor Clark, you can't believe it's the same cat if you can believe it's the same cat if you want. Just don't go digging random holes in the backyard. Why? I don't care. I'm not a cat person. Like, the cat is old enough and has lived a very long life. Like, I want it to live as long as it's going to live. But, like, if it were to, pass away at this point, it's, like, outlived itself. You know what I mean? Like, cats don't really live that long, right? How long? What's the longest cats live? It's usually, like 15 years or something, right? So, like, my parents don't need to, at least with me, maybe with my sister, but my parents don't need to lie to me about whether the cat is alive still or not. I'm just saying. Peak says, can you say the conversation has gone down the toilet? But oh my goodness. But that one deserves that. Well done, Peak. Well done. I like it. Queen Brian says, Baldbeard Builder hot, reminded of Dumb and Dumber with the dead bird. Yeah. Now it's just, aren't you glad there aren't any of your colleagues in here to witness this conversation? Well, I mean, Microsoft Developer is hosting this right now. So, and I have no idea if they're lurking right now either. They don't tell me. They just kind of do it. But I have stuff that sees things when people join and leave chat. So I can review it later. Bold Builder says, people are like, why do you keep a stuffed cat around? Oh, Brian loves to pet it when he comes to visit. He has no idea. Yeah, okay. Thanks. Yeah. Mr. Smoothie says, average cat life for indoor cat is about 17 years. Okay, so yeah. So this cat is an indoor cat, and it's well over 17 years now. It's at least 17 years, if not more. Peak says Bill Gates is lurking. Maybe. Probably not. Probably not. Actually, let me double check on something really quick. That reminds me. Okay. Nothing to worry about just yet. All right, chat. So, yeah, BuildUpDevs. Hey, how you doing? If you're new to BuildUpDevs, it's basically about, instead of tearing each other down, we want to build each other up. Okay? We want to have a positive community here of people that are helping each other, supportive of each other, encouraging to each other to keep moving forward with their project. Speaking of, is Juan here? Juan, if you watch this later, maybe Juan, the chosen one in chat usually. How's that mobile app coming, buddy? We're going to keep holding you accountable to that. Let's get it going. Keep moving on it. Keep making progress, Juan. We believe in you. So yeah, that's what BuildUpDevs is about. If you want to keep in touch with folks off stream, the Discord link is right there from the Stream Elements bot in chat. It's got the link for the invite. You can join up, accept the rules and code of conduct, and you'll be on your way. Catching up on chat. Boldbeard Bill says that's not a cat. It's probably Alf. Maybe. Mr. Swoofy says, if I was Bill Gates, I would definitely lurk. Really? Thanks. Kuya Brian says, is Brian old enough to know Alf? I do know Alf. I was probably on like the cusp of Alf's prime time, but I do know Alf and had watched this show. Boldbeard Bill says, Kuya Brian, he knows Alf. He just doesn't know he knows Alf. I know Alf. Now it's just, so what you're saying is we can't say you're just an average dev. No, you can absolutely say that. Frackberg says, I'm old enough for Alf. I have an Alf stuffed animal sitting on my couch right now. Dang. There you go. That's pretty legit. It's pretty legit. Too legit to quit. Any other wins? The other thing I wanted to bring up actually today. So speaking of the Discord, right? We had somebody, I'm not gonna name names on this because I don't know that they want to do that. It was mostly shared in the context of the Discord server, so you can go in and check this out. But it's a common thing that I think happens in the development community that we all run into at one point or another, at least once, most likely more than once. But it's kind of around imposter syndrome, right? So the person goes on to say, I feel really bad and not productive for many days now, and I feel like I don't belong to this field, okay? I keep forgetting things a lot, and some concepts don't stick to my mind. I always keep on changing tracks. I'm not focusing on one particular language. I'm planning to start web development from scratch, but I really need some suggestions and feedback. So let's kind of unpack that a little bit, right? I feel really bad and not productive for many days, and I feel like I don't belong to this field. That's a rough thing to be feeling, right? Like, I've certainly been there before. Chat, have you been there before? Have you had that feeling where you're like, I've not been productive for several days, maybe weeks, maybe months, okay? And then you're thinking you don't belong in this field as a developer. You don't belong programming or doing this kind of thing. I don't know if this person has a job in the field or not, so I guess that might be part of it too. Like if you don't have a job in the field and you're trying to, that's probably even more weight on your shoulders that you're feeling this when you get this feeling. Okay. So the reason I'm sharing this is that, like, I don't know that I have an answer in terms of like how not to do that. Maybe if I put some more thought into it and think about what my experience has been, maybe you all in chat have some answers to that. But the one thing that I would at least want to point out here is that I've felt this before. And I know I know of other people, potentially a lot of you in chat, have felt this before, where you feel really bad, you haven't been productive, and then on top of that, you're like, I don't belong here. I don't belong doing programming. I'm not good enough to do this kind of thing, right? And so I guess what I want to at least say is that you're not alone in that feeling when you have that feeling. Like, there's lots of folks, some of the folks that you probably even like look up to as, like, you know, the big names in whatever program. Let's like a big name in React, big name in Node, you know, those people that you know really well that have done a lot for those technologies you might be using or wanting to use or learning to use. Those people have gone through this stuff too, right? And so, like, I think there's some comfort in that, and it'll help you be like, you know what? Well, even though I'm having this feeling right now that I've been unproductive and I'm feeling like I don't belong, I know this person that I like really look up to has run through that as well, and look at all the stuff that they've accomplished, right? So I can bounce back from this, right? And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at with sharing that aspect of it, is that you may go through phases of this again, and you just need to know that you can get out of it at some point or another. You do belong, unless you don't want to belong. I guess that's the other part of this, right? Is like, maybe you don't really enjoy programming. Maybe you don't enjoy trying to solve these problems, like solve a problem with code, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's okay. Because I think what ends up happening, especially past few years, it's like just engineering, development, programming roles have been kind of a hot topic for people to want to get a job in at a high school, at a college or whatever the situation may be. And, you know, when that happens, people end up maybe going down the wrong path too. So I guess what I'm saying there is that I'm not trying to push anybody out of the field. I'm saying, like, if you don't find you're enjoying at least some aspect of it, even when you're just learning about it, it might mean you just need to focus in a different area of programming. But if you go through a bunch of it and it's still, like, after trial and error of all those different areas, you know, focusing in those different areas of programming, you still find yourself not liking programming, then maybe just programming is not what you want to do. Like, you're not going to be happy at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, you want to feel fulfilled, like you accomplished something, and it's something that you're passionate about and you feel really engaged with, you know? And so then so be it, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's okay to be like, hey, I thought I wanted to get into this field and then I don't really want to. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, I want to be a doctor. And then they start going and studying to be a doctor. And they're like, I don't want to be a doctor, even though that's, you know, a great field to be in. So, so that's what was shared in the Discord. Again, that's the BuildUpDevs Discord. And some of the responses have been absolutely fantastic from people. And it's the essence of why this community exists, you know, and seeing people build this person back up to be like, hey, you're not alone. Here's some resources maybe to help you get in the right direction. I felt that too with some of the responses I'm seeing here. Just really well thought out and kind responses to help this person out, that shared this message with us in the Discord. So, all right, with all that rambling, I lost track of chat, so I'm sorry. I'll catch up now. Webwires, hey, good to see you. Thank you for being here. So I had asked you all if you've ever run into that feeling before. Boldbeard Builder says tons of devs go through that and go through it again and again. Yep. Peyton Rules, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Peyton says a couple times a week. See, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that you go through that a couple times a week, Peyton Rules. But again, I hope you know you're not alone in that. And Peyton goes on and says, and I've been at this a long time. Well, there you go. TBD Games says, absolutely. I stopped watching dev streams from time to time because I feel like I can't hold a flame to those I'm watching. That's interesting, actually, TBD Gamer. Because I'm trying to, you know, that triggered a thought in my mind. I tend to watch, whenever I watch other streamers building stuff, it gets me fired up, honestly. Like, oh shit, I want to do that too. You know, like I just want to start working on whatever project that I've been kind of putting off for a while. So yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. I hadn't thought about that aspect of it, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, somebody might feel discouraged watching other people streaming coding too. And I'm sorry that that's the case in some situations for you, TBD Gamer. Webwire says, only when I'm stuck in technology stack due to the job I have. Okay. Kuya Brian says, I'm being unproductive right now. Well, thanks for being unproductive with us. I Heart Coding, hello, good to see you. Hota or Jota RV, thank you for the follow, appreciate you. Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I imagine it's Hota. TBD Gamer says, this might sound funny to those involved, but I watch Baldbearded Builder, Fritz, yourself, and others, and I see the levels of knowledge and productivity, and I really get in a funk because I feel I can't be that productive. So I think let's dissect that a little bit, TBD Gamer, if you don't mind. And TBD Gamer says, for reference, for those that don't know, I've been a dev for 20 years. Okay, so well then that puts into more context too. But I think there's all kinds of stuff to unpack with that, right? I was going to say, but being that you said you've been a dev for 20 years, I was going to say in some cases, you know, maybe you're early on. Obviously, this is not the case for you, but in some cases, people that feel discouraged when it comes to programming might be seeing other devs that have years of experience, just like, you know, things are just clicking for them and they're able to be productive, right? But part of that is because of that experience that they've had, the several years of experience of learning patterns, practices, how to use a particular programming language, how to use these tools that go with that language. and that helps make that they weren't productive just, you know, like right off the bat. Maybe in some cases there are people that just have a natural talent or something, and they were able to be productive with something the first time they learned it. But I think that's probably more rare than it is common. So I think that tends to happen. I think we lose sight of like the full context of where somebody's coming from when we see especially on the internet, right? You get very much surface level exposure to what that person is about. Like you think Instagram, for example, right? People are going to post their best selves all the time. They're not going to post themselves, you know, looking all scraggly. Like I wake up in the morning, my beard is every direction before I brush it, kind of thing. You know, you're not going to get pictures like that on Instagram. You're going to get everybody's best self because everybody's trying to present themselves in their best way possible. And so it kind of creates this illusion for some people. And I think the same thing applies with development, right? If you follow somebody that's a big name in like technology X, they're only posting about like some of the cool stuff that they have. Actually, you know, here's a great example. And I know that I'm pretty sure they've shared this. I don't want to go into this, I guess. There's somebody that I used to work with that I know very well. This very popular person that I know does a lot of really interesting like little fun projects that like are meaningless, but they like when they share them, they're really like amazing. Like with, and again, I don't want to share too much because I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that because I don't know if they've shared publicly or not. But I know they have a lot of like hidden private projects that they're tinkering with that they don't publicize that helps build them up to this bigger, broader thing that they then do publish. You know what I'm saying? It's just another example of like even the people in that, you know, that you hold on that put on that pedestal, they're struggling behind the scenes, I think. You know? So I guess my answer to you, TBD Gamer, is I believe that you can actually be as productive, if not more productive, than the folks that you're mentioning that you tune into and watch, is what I'm getting at, right? And here's the thing. I don't know. Maybe there's a certain tool or programming language that you are probably more productive in naturally than myself, than Fritz or Michael Jolly, right? As you mentioned there. So I don't know. I mean, and like, I just find it's kind of, I feel weird that you included me in that because I'm like, I don't feel like I've been really productive, like specifically on the Friday streams when we try our best to focus more on coding, right? So it's just interesting. I mean, I appreciate you sharing your perspective, TBD Gamer. Robert Tails says, I go through this all the time. It is normal. Thank you, Robert Tails. Music Bookworm says, that keep changing tracks part hit home hard. Right after I quit my last job to take care of my special needs teen, I lost focus and wasted time trying to learn a bit of everything. Yes. I think that tends to happen, right? Especially, I'm sorry I lean on this so much, but like because that's where my focus area is, and I'm trying to share Scrits TV and La Siri. Thank you so much for the follows. I try to share my experience that might be relatable to that situation as examples, right? And so let's take, for instance, web development, JavaScript. Everybody kind of jokes around about how like it's evolving and changing every day, and there's some truth to that. So it's extremely overwhelming to try and keep up with all the latest. Think about this. We have, just as an example, we have Angular, React, Vue, then like Svelte, then there's some other one that I've recently just kind of heard about for the first time that's like gaining traction too. So it's like 5 different things, probably more already, just for front end web development, for like SPA, single page application type of stuff, and beyond that, right? Like that is extremely overwhelming. And so somebody that's like wanting to get into web development, you're like, whoa, where do I start? Right? And there's a lot of things you can do to kind of pick and choose and figure it out. But the real key, just kind of like with the same advice I give to people that want to start streaming, you have to just start. Pick something, pick one thing. Don't try and learn React, Vue, Angular, all of them, right? Just pick one that you feel the most interested in, at least at first. Run with it for a little bit. And then, you know what? Maybe you're like, I'm not really feeling this. It's not clicking for me. I'm getting frustrated with it, whatever. You switch to another one and try that out then at that point, you know? Because like it's not bad to go into something and then realize you don't like doing that. I think we have this fear that we're going to waste, that's a waste of time, but it's not a waste of time. And I need to tell myself this too. Like it's very easy for me to say, but like putting it into practice and like really believing it. I do believe it, but like really holding myself to it, right? It's not bad to go into something and realize you don't want to do that. Because it's not a waste of time. It's actually a good use of time because there's a lot that you probably learned along the way while learning React or Angular and then deciding, hey, I don't want to use that anymore, right? You learned patterns and practices. You learned about front-end development, maybe because there's a lot of aspects that are apply across them. There's a lot of concepts and things that apply across those technologies. Again, just using this as a specific example. So yeah, Music Bookworm. I'm glad that hit home. I hope that like helped I don't know, get you to think about that a bit more. And yeah, thank you for bringing that up. B Santos, thank you so much for the follow as well. Frackberg says, TBD Gamer, I feel that too, especially watching people like Triple B or Robert Tables go from what's this thing to here's this thing I built with the thing I didn't know about 2 days ago. Yeah, I mean, that's understandable too. But I'm sure if you ask Triple B or Robert Tables, they probably feel the same way about other streamers or other people that they've seen like, hey, I'm going to pick this up. And then a day later or whatever, they have something really interesting to share. Nick TNT too, thank you for the follow. Rad Cullen says, it's tough because that feeling is relative. Even a seasoned dev might feel that way. Some people are just hard on themselves. Yep. What has helped me, Rad Cullen is saying, what has helped them is surrounding Rad Cullen themselves with supportive people and companies that support personal growth. That is very, very, very good. Let's get that highlighted too. Thank you for sharing that, Rad Cullen. That's an absolutely good point. One way to do that. And it's kind of, you know, what's interesting about that, Red Column, though, like applying it to today's current climate and situation, I think it's a bit harder to surround yourself. I mean, like obviously physically, but in general, to establish those connections with people that you don't already have, right? That can be your supportive group, your cheerleaders. Robert Tables, I remember him talking to me about that whole concept, and I think he's even been on this stream talking about cheerleading a little bit. You got to have some cheerleaders around you that are there to just cheer you on and be supportive and help you in your personal growth. So that's absolutely right. Thank you for sharing that, Rad Colin. TBD Gamer says, streaming and discussing development more has helped me pick myself out of that rut. Okay. And awesome community members have helped lift me up. That's good. I hope you find that here on Twitch in general, on this channel and the other channels of the folks here that are streaming in science and technology, and maybe even in BuildUpDevs if you're interested in joining up there. Robert Taylor says, Frackberg, but that has taken 15 years of failing in wild ways. Kuya Bryan says, getting out of here, everybody. Have yourself a wonderful day. All right, Kuya Bryan, thank you so much for tuning in. It's always good to see you. Appreciate you. Folks, I'm about 13 minutes behind on chat. Sorry. Music Bookworm says, for me, I found that picking one of two subjects and going through multiple books cover to cover until I level up in those subjects helps. May not be for everyone, but that is what works. But it's what works for me. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's true. You got to be very self-aware in terms of how you best learn. We've discussed that on stream too. iHeartCode says, everybody has to start somewhere. If it were easy, the world would be full of brilliant developers. Learn to enjoy the challenge. Yeah, that's a fair point. Sometimes it's hard to remember that though, in the moment. You know, iHeartCode. Frackberg says, Robert Tails, I'm aware, but that doesn't make it any less frustrating. TBD Gamer says, for reference, for those that don't know, I read that. Mr. Smoothie says, I felt this way when the product I was working on was mostly in a bug fix only, no new dev, nothing new to learn technology-wise. My skill was set, started to get really stale, and I felt the industry leaving me behind. Yes, you're absolutely not alone in there, Mr. Smoothie. There's definitely been points in my career where I felt that too. Where you're like, why am I working on this? This is like, they call it legacy applications, right? Work on a legacy app that is fine and running well. There's just little bits and pieces that you gotta maintain here and there, or whatever, your users are just saying, hey, this thing's not quite working right anymore, or maybe their use case changed a little bit and you got to update it, and it's built and written until your company gets funding to do a full rewrite to newer technology. You're stuck maintaining that thing, right? I definitely have been there. I feel for you. And I think in that situation in particular, what helped me is, and this is not, I don't say this lightly because I know people have very limited time, but I would find ways either during my work hours to carve out time to focus on learning the more newer things as best as I could. And it wouldn't always happen. It wasn't consistent, like where I could get every week, I could get like an hour, at least an hour in or something, but I think that's key to try at least so that you don't feel like you're falling as behind. Webwire says, I think it is very tough to be successful unless you have a level of passion about it, because it is always changing. So you're always needing to learn, which is tough without a real desire to do it. I hear where you're coming from, Webwires. I don't fully agree with that. I think what ends up happening is people get defensive. Like maybe they learned something. We've talked about this on stream before too. Maybe somebody's learned a certain programming language, right? Somebody learned Cobalt. Let's go with that. And they feel really proficient in that. And they're very resistant to any other new languages. There's lots, and this happened, I'm just joking around by saying Cobalt, but like any programming language, and you're going to find some people that work with that as their main programming language. There's going to be some people in that group of developers that are very in the mindset of like, they're just resistant to other programming languages. And I am speculating. I theorize. I don't know what the word is. My theory is, I think folks that are like that are fearful because of kind of what we're talking about here. Is they're fearful that they can't go and learn a new programming language, which they learned that first one. I think they're forgetting that, right? They learned that first programming language, whatever it is, or whatever the current one is that they feel really good about, and they're resistant to trying to have to learn a new one, and they start bashing that. That's why I think a lot of the stuff where we see people like bashing on other programming languages is because of people that are just scared. Seriously, they're scared. So they're like, the programming language I know is superior, and I shouldn't have to learn any other programming languages. But I think the reality, again, it's my theory. I have no like hard evidence about this, but I think the reality is folks that have that mentality are just scared to have to learn new languages, new technologies. But as you said, Webwires, things are going to keep evolving. So I think if we instead take the approach of, hey, this career is not about being really good at programming language X. This career is about being really good at learning. That's it. I was going to say more, but I'm like, that's it. This career is really about learning and applying what you learned. And whatever speed works best for you. Some people are naturally going to learn things quicker than others, and it's just the way it is. Some people are going to take a bit longer to learn things than others, and that's just the way that is. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way it's the way we operate as humans. So I don't know. All right, I digress. I don't want to get too much farther behind on chat. I really am far behind. Fragberg says there's a lot of resting of the hashtagging owl in learning to code. It's hard. I don't know that I get that reference. Sorry, Fragberg. Webwire says this is a great conversation, by the way. Well, thank you. I'm glad you appreciate that. Watch the profanity. Why is there any profanity, Michael Jolly? What did I say? Oh, I said shit, didn't I? Sorry. Oh, I said it again. Sorry. Robert Taylor says, if anyone has gotten discouraged by what I've done, please know that is my failure and not yours. That's nice of you. iHeartCode says, console.log, I is a pro coder. Piece of piss. I'm out. I'm missing that. What's that in context with? Red Collins says, not gonna lie, I learn more from non-expert streamers than the experts most of the time. That's fair. Webwire says, I'm also a 20-year dev. Nice. We got a couple 20-year devs in here. Nice. I like that. I like that. Do we have any newbies in the chat? Do we have any newbies in the chat? Anybody that's, or maybe people that haven't quite started doing development? Let me know in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. Robert Taylor says, I think that what you see on streams and assigned to a productive metric might be an incorrect assumption. Yeah. Cranking out hello world non-production code is not all that goes into the whole life cycle of actually shipping a real thing. That's true, Robert Taylor. This is a fair point. Hota says, yes, you pronounced it well. Thank you. Yeah, no worries. I try. I want to get out of respect. I'm reading people's names out loud while I'm chatting. You're kind enough to chat with me. I want to get your name right. It means a lot to you. Robert Taylor says, you don't see what it's like working. You don't know what it's like. Robert, I don't know why that made me think of the song. Robert Taylor says, you don't see what it's like working on a team, negotiating features and deadlines, tests, documentation, bug reports, etc. That's true. That's fair. That's a fair point. The code is very small part of building a thing. That's right, Robert Taylor. Bold Bearded Bill says, oh crap. What? I'm streaming / posting as my best self? I'm screwed. I see what you did there. Robert Tables. This is a good point. Let's highlight this one. Can I get to it? Yep, I got it. All right, so Robert Tables in chat says, and I want to make sure we highlight this too, because this is something I think is a problem in our industry. Avoid hero worship. It is toxic for communities. I'll say it again. Avoid hero worship. It is toxic for communities. What is hero worship? It's kind of what I've been talking about. There's people that you put up on a pedestal that are like industry leaders, whatever they want to call them. I don't know that not all of them call themselves these things, but sometimes people in the community call them this. They're thought leaders, they're influencers, they're X, Y, and Z, this like higher title that's not a real title kind of thing. And I agree. I think it's toxic. I think it's a toxic thing to do for everybody all around. Like the person themselves probably, right? Because depending on who they are as a person, they might mishandle that kind of, I don't know, recognition. Maybe it goes to their head. They get too big of an ego. Definitely see that happen. Or maybe they don't feel comfortable with that kind of thing. And they're like, why are people doing this? You know, like, I just want to be regular old me, you know, like I don't want to be hero worshipped kind of thing. Right. So I completely agree, Robert Tables. I don't know that I have more to add to that, though. But if you all in chat do, I'd be happy to read and hear from you. Frackberg says, who cares about communities? It's toxic for my own mental health. The hero worship thing? Yeah. Okay. Mr. Smoothie says, I would think some streamers publish the wins and not the failures, but there are those that stream live their failures as well. Yeah. For sure. I think, and that's, to me, I really feel like live streaming is about... Oh, my headset went off. There was no sounds going, so I might as well just turn it off. For me, live streaming is about learning live and failing. Because otherwise, why would you tune into a live stream? Like, what's the point? Like somebody that's viewing it. What's the point? You could just go watch the same type of thing on YouTube or some course website. You know what I mean? So like, if you're only ever going to stream like perfect demos that you've already practiced 15 times, like that's cool and all, but I mean, you could just record that and put it on YouTube, you know? It's very, very... Team Ultra Hal, hey, good to see you. Says, hey, brother, hey, right back at you. Ancient Coder says, for someone who watches you all the time, I think you're very productive on stream, but the way we measure productivity may vary. TBD gamer. Bold Beer Bills, Cold Fusion. Yeah, Svelte. Yep, Cold Fusion. Yeah. Robert Table says, it's not as overwhelming as people make it out to be. Who says you have to keep up with all that to ship things to the web? That's true too. In terms of all the web, yeah, all the stuff in web, yeah. Robert Table says, it's like people feeling like crap, like they can't keep up with Discord, Slack, newsletters, Twitch. Put down that bag of bricks. Who says you will be missing out on it? It's true, too. Wise words from Mr. Robert Tables. Can always count on you for that, buddy. Thank you. Mr. Smoofy says, unless you're a bold-bearded builder, he has to learn everything because of the repos he has to maintain. Robert Tables says, pick things that allow you to ship. That is a great way to summarize it, huh? Pick things that allow you to ship. And that's why I kind of talked, like when people come in and they're like, oh, you know, you're always talking about VS Code. What about WebStorm? I'm like, use WebStorm. use what keeps you productive. Use what's going to help you at the end of the day have the outcome that you need to have. You know what I mean? Reach the goals that you need to reach for your project. You're going to add that feature and you're efficient already in WebStorm. Keep using WebStorm. Like, why stop? No one's telling you to do that. And just because, like, let's ride with this example even more. Just because VS Code is quite popular, right? And I personally believe it's a great tool. That doesn't mean you should stop using the tool that you might be using, right? You know, just drop it completely and switch over completely to VS Code. Because then you could go that route if you want to, but I'm saying you're going to slow down quite a bit. You're not going to be as productive because you're going to have to figure out how things work in VS Code and like translate some of the quick things that you were able to do in WebStorm. Like, how does that translate over to VS Code, whatever, right? So keep using WebStorm, and then, like, in your downtime, if you really are interested in learning more about VS Code and trying it out, then do it then. You know, do it at that point in time. So I'm right there with you. I love that. Pick things that allow you to ship. Robert Tables. WebWire says, don't start with a library. Always start with understanding the language. Then the libraries are easier. To each their own. I don't know that I agree or disagree one way or the other, WebWires, because I've definitely there's been times where I jumped into the libraries first instead of like the you know, plain old language, you know. And I feel like I did all right with that. Maybe it would have been better if I gone the other way, but I don't know. Knowledge says, this isn't a humble brag. You know what's annoying? A lot of people tend to be astonished by my productivity and ability to give a quick turnaround, only to know the reality that I spent about 5 times more time procrastinating than actually doing the work. Ice Cream Codes, good to see you. I'm really behind on chat right now, Ice Cream Codes, but thank you so much for the 4 months. And how's the family doing? How's the baby doing? I'm up to iHeart Coding. I'm about 15 minutes behind. It says I left a back end role, went into front end, realized I hated it, went back to back end role. I still learned a lot, and overall, don't regret trying it. That's good. That's a great example, like real life example that happened. Let's go highlight that as well. Thank you for sharing that. So for folks that are worried about going down the wrong path in terms of picking the wrong technology, picking the wrong programming language, whatever it may be, you can always switch it back up again. What is this clip? Streaming. You have to just start. Pick something. Pick one thing. Don't try and learn React. Streaming. You have to just start. Pick something. Pick one thing. Don't try and learn React. Streaming. You have to just start. Pick something. Pick one thing. Don't try and learn React. Thank you for that clip, Michael Jolly. Frackberg says, I feel like I've done a bit of complaining. I know that I have skills that the other people don't understand too. For example, I can ride a unicycle, not the one wheel, an actual unicycle. Dang, that's cool. Yeah, man. WebWire says, if you want to learn JavaScript, I recommend starting with this. That's cool. I appreciate you sharing that. WebWires. Team Ultra House says, legacy code is awesome. Turns your brain on. I mean, it'll help you learn some of the patterns and practices that helped, you know, create the programming languages that we use today. That's what I also feel about it, right? It's like these programming languages today that are highly, you know, touted as like being so great. They're standing on the shoulders of giants, right? That expression of there's other programming languages prior to them that the creators of these newer programming languages learned from, you know, and tried to improve upon and iterate on. So there is that. Michael Jolly talking to Frackberg. Michael Jolly says, also to your last message, you AWS people are magicians to me. I have no skills there. It's true. I feel that same way. Robert Hills is COBOL. COBOL, no T. Okay, sorry. See, I don't know what I'm talking about. I was just using an example. You knew what I was talking about, though. And if you can learn COBOL now, there's some cash money to make it on critical infrastructure stuff. True. That is a true story, as Michael Jolly says, too. Knowledge says, what about a dev who is contemptful of other languages, but is also making their own language? Well, I feel like I kind of answered that, Knowledge. Maybe, was that in the context of when I was talking about that? Let me know. Drop that message again in chat if you want me to get back to it. I'm gonna move on though. Robert Taylor says, there's an oft misquoted saying of a jack of all trades and a master of none, trying to indicate it's better to be, which is trying to indicate it's better to be really, really good at one thing. This is factually incorrect. All right, so the expression or saying a jack of all trades and a master of none is trying to indicate it's better to be really, really good at one thing. And Robert Taylor is saying this is factually incorrect. The full phrase, a jack of all trades and master of none, is oftentimes better than a master of one. I don't know. I think I agree with you. Tim Suck says, in my final year of school. Okay, cool. Doing my capstone right now. Okay, excellent, excellent. MCM Pistachios is about a year with C# and still growing. All right. Well, I hope this kind of, and thank you for, sharing that, Tim Sucks. I don't think you suck, by the way. If that's your name, if your name is Tim, unless it's in reference to somebody else. But I hope this conversation has been helpful to you and encouraging, Tim Sucks, as a newer developer, newer to the industry, newer person to the industry. Right Cullen says, I'm going on 5 to 6 years, but kind of accidentally found myself in a master of none situation, working on building up real expertise in front end. Okay. Music Bookworm says, hero worship can be pretty toxic for the hero as well. Yep. Seen too many people burn out from always having to be the hero, in quotes. Yeah. Mr. Smoofy, for those 20-year-old devs, where do you count from? When you wrote your first program, your first paying job? That is a good question, actually. I kind of think of it as like, for me, I think of like, how long have I been developing professionally? That's kind of my line that I draw. But I definitely was like doing some coding prior to being paid for coding. TBD Gamer put it in an exact date. Like on this day in history of TBD Gamer, the September 27th, 1999, TBD Gamer began their journey into programming. The rest is history. How's that, TBD Gamer? MCM Pistachio says, fail forward. Learn from what doesn't work, and streaming how you figure out why something doesn't work can be worth more than a single way that it does work. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And well, let's get we can highlight that one. I like that. You haven't been highlighted yet, my pistachio friend. I love pistachios, by the way. So fantastic name. Mr. Smoofy says, for me, it's 80s when I started programming, but I was a kid and not for money. In junior high school, I wrote some software for free for the Tampa Police Department. First paying programming job wasn't really till the 90s, so pick a number, 20 to 40 years right now. Yeah. That's awesome. That's fantastic, Mr. Smoofy. Ice Cream Coach says, we're all great. That's good to hear. CLW, my man, good to see you. Robert Tables shared the clip of you, and I hope he's going to add it to the notable clips repo of you getting a case of the giggles. It's good to see you, Corey. How are things by you, man? Eternal Dev Coder says, when would be a good use case for SQL or NoSQL databases? Good to see you, Eternal Dev Coder. Thank you for the question. I would say it depends on, I guess you kind of think about it like, I'm not the best person to answer this. Let me put it that way first. Let me preface it with that. But my understanding is NoSQL is good for when you don't have like a lot of relational connections. In my opinion, again, right? I'm not an expert on this, so I could be wrong. Somebody can feel free to correct me on this. And to me, when it's like, I would use SQL when I know I need to have a lot of these parent-child kind of relationships between my data. And like if you're going to have a lot of them, for instance, like if you're going to have a lot of collections within collections, basically, let's look at it that way, it may not be as performant. And again, I'm not entirely sure about this. I probably should just shut up because I'm speaking from inexperience. But my understanding is that it's not as performant than if you were using a relational based database, SQL in this case, right? When you have to query a large number of like related tables, right? So CLW says first paying job is when you count your years of experience. I'm with you on that. Michael Jolly agrees. Triple B's been programming since 95. TBD Gamer says, it was a big day for me because I had flunked college, so getting a software development job is milestone. Okay, nice. Tim Suck says, yes, my name is Tim, and that was in response to you asking if there were any newbies in chat. Yeah, I got that context. Thank you for clarifying, though. And good to see you, Tim. Thank you for being here. Smoofy talking to Michael Jolly, CLW laughing. The giggles were ridiculous. Nice. That's good. It's always good to laugh and smile. Happiness. Happy. Robert Tails is happy to assist in making that happen. Robert Tails says, and I did a PR of that clip into the Notable Clips repo, Clark. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. WebWires, 1998 for me. I was in school for computer animation, but I worked at a small company and I thought their website was bad, so I changed a few pages and showed my boss, and he said, that's great. Can you do that to the rest of the site? Oh, you done did yourself in with that one, WebWires. Next thing you know, I'm a full-time dev. Sometimes I wonder if I should have stayed in animation. No, that's an awesome story. Thank you for sharing that, WebWires. That's really cool. McNerdy, it's good to see you, says, oof, when do you start counting hits home hard? Been programming since VB3, using C# from the start, but not employed, programming or otherwise. Still an amateur then, I suppose. No. Don't be imposter syndrome enhanced. No. And I'm all caught up on chat with that one, too. Wow. I was not expecting to do that. McNerdy, please don't feel like an imposter. You are not an imposter, my friend. Just because you don't have a paying job in programming does not mean you're not a developer. Does not mean, yeah, there's a lot of negatives in there, double negatives. Just because you aren't being paid to do programming does not mean you aren't a programmer, is what I'm trying to say. By the way, this paper plane, this is what I'm playing with. I don't think I have, oh yeah, I do have it, hold on. I don't know, I forget when we got this. But we got this little box and it has like a book of instructions of how to make paper planes, different style paper planes instead of the traditional one. It's pretty cool. Highly recommend it. And I every now and then my daughter's like, hey, can we make more paper planes? And I'm like, heck yeah, let's do that. And then we throw them and see how far they go. Robert Till says, oh my God, I want that paper plane. It's absolutely worth. I don't remember how much it was, to be honest. It was a while ago. I think we got it for her last Christmas maybe or something. It's been a while. Robert Taylor says, I mean for my kids, allegedly. Yeah. Music Bookworm says, if you want a good compare contrast across a number of SQL, NoSQL, etc. options, the book Designing Data Intensive Applications is good. It's a decently long read, but it does a good job going through details of different data options. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Again, that's from Music Bookworm, who shared, I'll highlight it, make it easier. Who shared a book with the name of Designing Data Intensive Applications. Thank you, Music Bookworm. McNary says, odd, I was digging through old stuff last night and stumbled upon a stash of paper planes. Yeah, I had a pile of them somewhere in here, but this is one that we made more recently. It's just a standard one. It's kind of not showing up because of the green screen and the yellow, but you get the gist of it. It's pretty standard. I'm trying to think of what my favorite one. There's a book. I need to start wrapping up, honestly, chat. But really quick. I'm really feeling good. I feel like we turned things around today. I started off rough, and then we got into some good conversation there. So thank you for that, chat, for helping me feel a little bit better today and having good conversation with me. So yeah, classic Paper Planes book. I think my favorite one, I don't know, but it like shows you each fold too. This one's called the Jart. I'm trying to think which one was my favorite. This one looks cool, the hammerhead, but it does not fly very well. It's very like front heavy because you basically take two pieces of paper to make that one and you combine them together. And so the front nose of it just nosedives like crazy. TBD Gamer says, meeting time for me. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, TBD Gamer. Have a good one. Hope your meeting goes well and have a good rest of your day. CLW says, I'm going to see if that book is at Barnes & Noble's locally to pick it up. Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Oh, Instructables. How to make the super hammerhead paper plane. Nice. You love that one, McNerdies? Juan. Hello, Juan. I was asking if you were here earlier because I was talking about holding people accountable. How's that mobile app coming, Juan? How's that mobile app? Musical Bookworm says, FYI, the book is 590 pages. Ooh, it's sitting on the bookshelf next to me. Yes, I still buy printed books. I am a bookworm after all. Yeah. No worries. Robert Tails says, the Jart. That could be made into a joke that I won't do right now. Does it have anything to do with farting? CLW says, I'm going to see if I read that. CLW says, Music Bookworm always has the good resources. Yeah, for sure. Sure. Juan says the app is coming on strong, 5 screens down. Excellent. Congrats on that. Is that your win of the week, Juan? Applause to Juan for that. McNary says, yeah, I was always folding that super hammerhead. Heck, if I remember the folds now, though. Yeah, it's like, were you able to fly that successfully? How do you throw the hammerhead plane best? That's what I've always struggled with after making it. So the hammerhead looks cool. I think one of these other ones is like just super, like this RTM one. Look at that. That one flies really well, if I recall correctly. Oh, the Nakamura lock. I think this is the one that flies really good. Nakamura lock. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Anyway, this is a really cool book. I think they have expansions on it too. I haven't made all of them yet either. The Afterburner. Anyway, the Javelin. The Javelin's a good one. Oh, no. The Javelin is the one that flies really well. If I recall correctly, yeah. Right? Yeah. I think so. Javelin. Very similar to the Nakamura lock. Fun times. Yes, it is fun times. I wonder if it's called something different in the book. Juan says, a win would be to get 7 down. Okay. Fair enough. We're going to keep holding you accountable, my friend. All right, folks. So we're going to start wrapping up. I appreciate you all joining. Appreciate you joining in on the conversation and contributing in that way. If you want to keep these kind of conversations going, you want to join in on that topic that we're talking about, you can join the BuildUpDevs live Discord. And there's the link to that from Stream Elements right there, discord.gg link, if you want to check that out. So you pop in there, accept the rules and code of conduct, and you'll be on your way to chatting with us. So that's how we'll keep in touch when we don't have our BuildUpDevs live. Francisco Angelo, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Juan says, I came in late. It's all good, Juan. You know, you got to use your time wisely. No problem. Did I miss anything else in chat? No, I think I'm caught up there. All right, cool. All right, we're going to start playing some music. The closing music, if I can find it. Oh my goodness. This one. I like this as the closing one. And then we're going to start heading out. We're going to go, let's raid somebody. If you have suggestions on who we go raid, let me know. Mute tab, please. All right, I got somebody. Florin Pop, they're working on fixing their Gatsby blog. Sound good? All right, folks. Thanks again so much for tuning in. Appreciate you all. I hope you have a good rest of your... Dubsman, what's up, buddy? I'll get to you. I saw your DM. I'll get to you in a minute, man. Hope you have a good rest of your Thursday. I will be streaming again. Just me, Clarkio, Crazy Clarkio Friday stream tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time right here, twitch.tv/Clarkio. If you enjoyed today's stream and you're not already following, maybe you forgot. I tend to do that sometimes. Just a quick reminder. Feel free to drop that follow. And I hope, again, thank you again for joining. I'll see you all maybe tomorrow. If not, next week, same place, same time.